Hi, my name is Bob Carter. I built this beauty. Her name is Q51, or Little Lulu's Q51, named after my wife. Her middle name is Lulu, and I remember back in the 50s, the Lulu series, Little Lulu, you know, he's always in and out of trouble, but mostly always in. That's that 51. My daddy owned a wrecking yard. I started building cars or working on cars when I was 5 years old at the wrecking yard. It was the home, I mean, that was our family business. And as long as I can remember, I've done cars. I started off by, he would pay me $10 an engine to tear a motor apart, mark it all in the yellow ink, and put the parts on the shelf so we could sell them. So I can tell you since 5, 10, 15, years old, there ain't a car out there I can't tell you what the part is. Found the car in Cattaraugus County, New York. In fact, my wife found it. I also built a 46 Merc before this. She's seen it first, and it had what we call a failed chop top. And the guy that owned the car, my wife sees it, she says, "Honey, it's already got a chop top, you're gonna love it." So I went over and looked at it, and the guy says, that car's too far gone, nobody could fix it. And that's when I seen this car parked off to the side. And I looked at this one and I said, "Well, what do you want for the 51? If you're saying the 46 is no good, well, what do you want for the 51? He told me he wanted $3,500. I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal right now, right on the spot. I'll pay you the $3,500 you want for that 51, but you got to throw in the 46, the car that you're saying is no good. Nobody could ever fix it." "Oh, I got to get something out of it," he said. So anyhow, we wound up doing that deal. I told him, "When you're ready to make that deal, you call me." A week later, he called me, and I wound up with both cars. But I restored the 46 first. It helped pay for this.
So, do you have a 51 Mercury under the hood?
No, that's another story. A friend of mine, I go to the Indianapolis 500 every year, did it for like 34 years in a row. And for a period of time around the 2000 era, Infiniti had the Infiniti Pro Series, and they ran the Indy 500. All the motors in the Indy 500 were made by Infiniti, and also in the Infiniti Pro Series. A friend of mine is a head engineer at Infiniti at the factory in Tennessee. And of course, Infiniti is ran and owned by Nissan. Everybody knows that or not. Anyhow, we were there at the 500, and I seen a cutaway of this motor on display. And I got to telling him, I says, "You guys that build cars in Japan are quite known to be the copiers. You copy a lot of stuff." I says, that motor is a spitting image of a Dodge Chrysler Hemi. Everything. Except you made it 32 valve with overhead cam instead of a pushrod motor. It's a cam motor." I looked at that and I fell in love with it. I was going to put a big block Chevy in it, but once I seen that beautiful motor, I had to have it. So, and we had to do a lot of modifications to put it in this car. As you can see, it's got an extra large 4-core radiator. It also has all the other creature comforts, air, tilt, cruise, power, special intake, kind of handcrafted. As you can see, the underside of the hood is nicer than the top side of the hood, with all that metal finish in it. That's kind of a chore to do when you're talking about, the thickness of metal. It's where I had to do all of that work and curving. There's not a panel on this car that has not been massaged, one way, shape, form, or fashion. Headlights are Dodge Neon 2002, which I took the blinker lights. If you look at a Dodge Neon, you'll notice the headlight has the blinker light built into it. I hacksawed them off, refiberglassed them, and put the right blinker on the left side and the left blinker on the right side. That's how you can see them down there. And then I Frenched them in, These are aftermarket Dodge Neon. They're not like the stock that turn gray when they get old and stuff. These are all new aftermarket. It was round, and they usually Frenched in what we call old school custom Merc people, the George Barrises and the people back then. you know, Tony DiAgostino, and, you know, they always had them and they Frenched them straight in. I decided to take these, and I was kind of saying, well, I like the thing about Frenching, so I took the 2002 Dodge Neon and Frenched them in to 51 Merc.
So did you do all that with fiberglass?
No, this thing ain't got no fiberglass in it. It's all steel. Again, I've got pictures of everything in this car being done all by metal, hammered out, refinished, and it's all metal finish. The whole car.
Now, when a person looks at that hood, back at the transition to the body, that's factory Merc.
Factory 51 Merc at the A-pillar and the firewall. That's factory 51 Merc. In fact, it even still has the squared corners instead of rounded.
But that's not factory 51 Merc on the front.
Absolutely not. The front from infinity back there, what I call it the firewall, from there to up here in the nose, there's been 3.5 inches taken out. So that hood drops 3.5 inches from front to back. And then the B-pillar we took out because I wanted hard-topped. And then we took the C-pillars and cut them down, took out the big, broad back window and torpedo backed it. The window in the back is out of a 48 Chevy. And then we brought it back to infinity for the torpedo back. I extended the roof rails almost 9 inches for the drip rail. I had that 46 Mercury I told you I work on. I didn't have drip rails on it, and I regretted it because water was just pouring that thing when it was raining. I said, that ain't gonna happen on this one. So the water runs off the way it should. You know. So the other thing, this car is also known as old school, new school. You can see the new school with the headlights and stuff like that. The other part of old school is I had to make up the mind whether I wanted a wraparound windshield or if I wanted old school split window. As you can see, I elected to go split window, old school. So it's got a little of both. What we call Dagmires, or what it's been called since the 40s and 50 Dagmires, are the bullets in front. That's out of a 52 Cadillac bumper, molded into the stock Mercury.
This car is kind of your final achievement in restoring cars, and you were invited to enter this car in a certain auto show. Tell
The
us
Detroit Autorama. I haven't been invited because I never entered it, because I come down with terminal sickness, which, you know, I got to do nothing about. But that was my deciding factor. Detroit Autorama, the car was specifically built for that. It's invitation only. They take 8 top cars that they invite. If you make it to the grade 8, then you have an opportunity to make it to what's called the Don Riddler Award. It only happens at the Autorama in Detroit, and as we know, that's where the cars come from, is Detroit. So it's very prestigious, many, many years. You can look it up on the internet and you can find how tough it is. If I would have entered it, I think it would have been a candidate. I think I would have got invited, but you never know. I'm hoping the buyer of this car might take it to fruition, take it all the way, because still it has not been shown anywhere. I don't know if an auto auction will kill that invitation or not, but I don't think so. I don't see any reason why it would. In the circumstances, what can you say? I mean, it is what it is.